For more than 2 centuries, the United States of America has presented itself as the global guardian of democracy. A nation built on a written constitution, checks and balances, freedom of speech, and the rule of law. From classrooms to international forums, America has been described as proof that democracy can survive, adapt, and lead. But history teaches us a difficult truth. No democracy is permanent. Across the world, democracies have collapsed not through sudden military coups, but through slow, legal, and often popular processes. This documentary asks a serious and uncomfortable question. Is the United States following that same path? This is not a political attack nor a conspiracy theory. This is a fact-based examination of power, institutions, surveillance, media, elections, and civil liberties. The United States was founded in 1776 after breaking away from British colonial rule. Its founders feared concentrated power above all else. That fear shaped the Constitution. Power was divided among 3 branches: the legislature to make laws, the executive to enforce them, and the judiciary to interpret them. No branch was meant to dominate. Each was designed to restrain the others. The Bill of Rights guaranteed freedom of speech, freedom of the press, freedom of religion, and the right to protest. These were not symbolic promises. They were defensive weapons against tyranny. For generations, these institutions worked, not perfectly, but effectively enough to preserve democratic continuity. Authoritarianism rarely announces itself. It begins with small shifts of power, often justified by fear. After the September 11 attacks in 2001, the United States entered a permanent state of emergency. The Patriot Act was passed, dramatically expanding government surveillance powers. For the first time, the federal government could monitor phone calls, emails, and personal data without traditional warrants. These powers were described as temporary. They never were. The executive branch grew stronger while congressional oversight weakened. National security became a shield against accountability. This is a common historical pattern. Fear creates permission, and permission creates power. In 2013, former intelligence contractor Edward Snowden revealed the true scale of government surveillance. The National Security Agency was collecting data from millions of American citizens: phone records, internet activity, private communications. This surveillance was not targeted, it was systemic. The government argued that those with nothing to hide had nothing to fear, but democracy depends on privacy. Without privacy, dissent disappears. Every authoritarian system relies on surveillance, not always to punish, but to intimidate. When citizens believe they are always being watched, self-censorship replaces free expression. America did not become a police state, but it adopted police state tools. A free press is the backbone of democracy. Without it, power operates in darkness. In the United States, most major media outlets are now owned by a small number of powerful corporations. Profit, ratings, and political access increasingly shape news coverage. During the Iraq War in 2003, major media organizations amplified government claims about weapons of mass destruction, claims later proven false. When media repeats power instead of questioning it, propaganda replaces journalism. This does not require government censorship. Corporate dependency achieves the same result. Elections are the foundation of democratic legitimacy. But elections alone do not guarantee democracy. American elections are among the most expensive in history. Political campaigns depend heavily on wealthy donors, corporations, and lobbying groups. In 2010, the Supreme Court's Citizens United decision allowed unlimited corporate spending in elections. This decision fundamentally shifted political influence away from voters and toward capital. When political success depends on money, representation becomes transactional. Democracy survives on trust in elections, institutions, and outcomes. After the 2020 presidential election, that trust fractured. Claims of fraud, despite lack of evidence, were repeated until millions believed them. On January 6, 2021, the United States Capitol was attacked by its own citizens attempting to overturn a certified election. This was not just a riot, it was a warning. When people reject democratic outcomes, authoritarian solutions become acceptable. Democracies collapse when institutions weaken and individuals dominate. In recent years, American politics has increasingly centered around strong personalities rather than constitutional norms. Loyalty to leaders has at times outweighed loyalty to democratic principles. Courts, journalists, and civil servants have been labeled enemies rather than safeguards. This language is not accidental. It is a tested authoritarian strategy. The United States is not a dictatorship today. Elections still occur, courts still function, voices of dissent still exist. But the warning signs are real. Expanded surveillance, corporate dominance, weakened trust, polarized society, and growing acceptance of authoritarian language. History shows that democracy does not disappear overnight. It erodes legally, slowly, and often with public approval. The future of American democracy depends on whether its citizens defend institutions over individuals, truth over narratives, and freedom over fear. Because when questioning power becomes dangerous, democracy survives in name alone, and dictatorship quietly takes its place. If this documentary made you think, don't forget to subscribe and share it with your friends. Your support allows us to continue exploring important issues like this in our upcoming videos.